Good morning. What is happening, everybody? Day 2. Welcome back to the DatacenterDude channel right here on Twitch. To get things started, we got about 5 minutes. I thought I would jump on a little early and chat with you guys, say hi, what's up. It's been a hell of a month. We've gone from VMworld in August to Insight in Vegas to VMworld in Europe to Ignite to KubeCon to Thanksgiving, AWS reInvent, week after week after week after week after week after. It has been, it's been a ride for sure. Yeah, I just wanted to hop on and say, hope everybody. Oh, sorry, Braun, come on, dude, work with me here. Yeah, he's not standing up today. This is Braun Strowman, by the way, my doppelganger. Although I'm not 6'8" and 385 pounds. He's a lot bigger than me. Say hi in the chat, guys, if you're joining us. Let me know how you doing. Let's see. So we're getting into the holidays. This is really the last major trade show of the year. And with that, the last major trade show of the decade. It's the end of a decade. So one of the videos that I've been working on making for the YouTube, we're trying to ramp the YouTube channel back up. Some of this content that we're doing on the live streams is going to be supplementary to that, but we're moving to a new place. I'm getting a little bit bigger studio. I'm going to be able to make some new videos and things like that, and just really revive the YouTube channel, the website, and things like that in 2020. A lot of that stuff needs overhauling. It's still very dated, and it's just tops of my list to really get some of that stuff going. But one of the first videos I was going to do was, this time of year you start getting the prediction posts as we head into a new year, and I think they're going to be ramped up a little bit this year because we're going into a new decade. We're looking at the next 10 years of IT and enterprise technology, and a lot of it's going to be centered around cloud, hybrid cloud, multi-cloud, a lot of those new architectures. And man, it just feels like a new renaissance right now of what we were going through in the mid-2000s. We've reached the end of a certain era, and we're about to enter a brand new one. I say all the time, people just saw their first vMotion, right? And now they're going to spend the next 5 years overhauling everything that they do in IT. We're kind of getting ready to go through that again. It's really exciting. It's really exciting to go through these kinds of changes in our industry and what we do. So what I was going to do, instead of doing, I might do a predictions thing. They're kind of meh at this point. I want to reflect back. I want to look back to where I was in December of 2009, before NetApp was even on my radar as a potential employer, right? Because that didn't really happen until the second half of 2010. So I want to look back at where I was in 2009, and I want to talk to you guys about everything that we've gone through in the last 10 years. The big timeline bullet points, the evolutionary steps, and a couple of revolutionary steps that have happened in IT and enterprise technology over the last 10 years. So those of you that are new to IT or new to tech or have just really started a career with the cloud native movement, it's going to be big for you guys to understand as well. So it looks like the live stream might be getting ready to start here in we got about 2 minutes. But I'm going to kick it over so that we can watch together. Let me turn that music off, and I'll just keep chatting while we kick things over to that. So let me do that, a little bit of that there, and I'll leave the music on just for the time being until they actually start doing the keynote. So yeah, that's my plans for the next couple of weeks. I'm moving next week, so we're still going to be doing the streams. Everything should be non-disruptive. We got to do that. There's no scheduled downtimes anymore. We're done with the major trade shows for the year. I think we've got the Gartner event happening next week. The new IDXC, or they're not calling it Data Center anymore. It's something else. Not going to that. I've kind of made a commitment to do everything live streamed as much as I can. Some of that will be at shows, and I've started to put together the gear to be able to do that. We've got big plans for Insight next year that we're going to put into motion at the beginning of next year. I'm hoping that we can have our own anchor desk to have guests come on, be a part of the stream all day, every day throughout the show, doing demos and all that kind of stuff so that people that can't attend can also partake in some of that. And we'll be streaming that to like YouTube and Twitch and all kinds of good stuff. So lots of plans around that. Lots of plans for content creation over at twitch.tv/NetApp. Make sure you're following that channel as well, because we're going to be coming out big at the first of the year with that one, with some new TV shows, if you want to call it that. Plus, I'm trying to talk Justin over at Tech on Tap, the podcast, to go live. And I'm twisting his arm a little bit. So, Justin, if you're watching, I'm going to be talking to you first of there. Jay Harmonizer in the chat. What's going on? Thanks for joining in. Welcome to the show. And yeah, let's switch the audio. It looks like they're getting ready to go here. I think as soon as they're done with Deep Racer, let's see what they do. Which Deep Racer looks pretty cool. If you didn't get to watch this stuff, go look up Deep Racer. They're doing AI race, like RC racing. It's fantastic. Doing it all in the cloud. But anyway, yeah, be on the lookout. Let me switch this over here. Oh, got to unmute it. There we go. Oh, it's really loud. All right. So, yeah, be on the lookout for the new videos coming. 2020 is going to be a hell of a year. I can't wait to get started. All this backdrop that you see is about to change over the course of the next week or two as I get moved into the new studio. And, yeah, we're going to wrap up the 2010s. Whole new decade. We're into the 2020s. The 20-aughts, the 2010s, and the 2020s. Woo, my third... going into my third decade in IT, in tech. All right, here we go, guys. Day 2 of AWS reInvent 2019. Let's enjoy.
Please welcome Head of Worldwide Channels and Alliances at Amazon Web Services, Doug Yum.
Good morning, and welcome to the 8th Annual reInvent Global Partner Summit. It's great to see all of you here this morning. Thanks for coming out. We have thousands of partners who are attending reInvent this week, and we have hundreds of partners who are here as sponsors. Thank you for helping us put on another great event for our mutual customers.
You're welcome.
I had a chance to walk around the expo yesterday, and it's amazing to see all the innovations that are being driven by all of you. We really appreciate your constant push to innovate on behalf of our customers. It's super important. reInvent has always been an exciting event for me, but today, standing here in front of all of you, is truly special and humbling. I've been with AWS since 2014, and have seen the business grow and change so much in just a few short years. In my past roles as the general manager for Korea and as Andy Jassy's chief of staff, I saw firsthand how important partners are to our business. And since taking on this role, I've had the opportunity to meet with a lot of partners from all around the world, and I'm learning a lot by listening to a diverse group of consulting partners and technology partners who are working hard every day to build successful businesses with AWS. Recently, I had a chance to meet with founders of Cloudhesive and 6ix9ine. Both are APM Premier Consulting partners. And they share their stories with me about how they built and grew their businesses with AWS. They took different approaches, focusing on different market segments and specialty areas, but both made big bets on AWS when they started and haven't looked back since. And I was very happy to hear that their bets on AWS are paying off and their businesses are growing rapidly. You know, I find these stories really inspiring because I know how hard it can be to grow a business. You know, I personally started an SI company earlier in my career. I ran it for 7 years. And the experience was amazing, but those 7 years were not easy. They were really tough. So I truly appreciate all the hard work that all of you are doing, and I empathize with some of the challenges that you have. And I want all of you to know that I am personally committed, and AWS is committed to making sure that all of you are successful. There are many other success stories from our APM partners, similar to what you heard about Cloudhesive and 6ix9ine. So I'd like to share some of them today with you about how our APM partners are growing and evolving to meet the increasing customer demand and also the changing customer needs as they continue to go bigger and go deeper with AWS. And we'll also talk about how AWS will continue to work alongside all of you and invest in your success. Partners have been a key part of our business strategy since the early days, but I don't think anyone could have anticipated how quickly the APN has grown. We launched APN back in 2012, and since then, the APN has grown to tens of thousands of consulting partners and tens of thousands of technology partners. In the last 5 years alone, the number of APN partners have grown by 5 times, and this year we're adding 50 new partners every day from all around the world. And we're seeing this growth primarily because more and more customers are choosing to use AWS as we invest into 3 key areas. Those are AWS service innovation, geographic footprint expansion, and enterprise workload migrations. Let me first talk about service innovation. As you heard from Andy yesterday, the pace of innovation at AWS will not be slowing down. We currently have over 175 services available for our customers, and every time we launch a new service, that equates to new opportunities for all of you. For example, AWS Wavelength, which is a new type of AWS infrastructure deployment. This allows developers to build applications that require very low latency for use cases like machine learning inference at the edge, or communicating or exchanging data with autonomous industrial equipment at the edge. Customers will need partners to help them think through how to best use Wavelength to come up with new ideas and innovative ideas on digital experiences for their customers. And I believe that over time, our partners, whether you're an SI or an ISV or an MSP, there are going to be new business models that will be built on Wavelength. Another example of how we work with our partners is Amazon Bracket, the service that we launched this week. It's a good example of how AWS will partner with APM partners that have deep expertise in a specific field like quantum computing to jointly innovate on a new service. And Amazon Bracket allows our customers to gain easy access to quantum computing so they can understand the possibilities that this will have on their new businesses or on their businesses. And lastly, I think Data Exchange, which is a service that we launched a couple of weeks ago, it's an innovative new service that allows customers to find and subscribe to and use third-party data in the cloud. And we offer an API for Data Exchange that partners can use to easily integrate into their products to offer more value for customers who are using their products. So they can use third-party data along with the data that they're creating and analyzing the cloud already to deliver additional insights for their business. So these are just some examples of how new innovations can create new opportunities for all of you. And so one of the things I'd like to ask all of you to do is think about all the services that we launched yesterday and see what potential those services can have for your businesses. Let's talk about geographic expansion. Customers get really excited when we open new regions. And they are able to move faster and do more with AWS, and thus creating new opportunities for our partners. And we see that happen in every single new region that we've launched. And we will continue to open new regions in all the world's major economies, as well as many emerging ones. And when we do so, enterprises across all of our industries will start to use AWS in a big way, and they'll be making strategic decisions to move the vast majority of their IT estate to AWS. And as part of that, a lot of their enterprise applications will be moving to the cloud. And that is why we've been investing a lot into making sure that our platform is the best place to run enterprise applications like SAP, VMware, Windows, and Oracle.
Is VMware an enterprise application?
SAP is a very important workload for many enterprise customers.
Is it a platform?
We've been serving customers for SAP workloads since 2011.
What say you?
And we now have more than 5,000 customers who are using SAP on AWS. We've been doing it longer than anyone else, and we have more customers than any other cloud providers. On top of that, we have partnered closely with SAP for years to make sure that we have the best technology to support SAP workloads on AWS, and that we have the broadest set of offerings for SAP HANA-based solutions on AWS. Because we have the most experience, the best technology, and the most number of offerings for our customers, we're seeing an accelerating growth in customer demand. And given that most of the SAP migrations happen with partners, we believe this is an important and very large opportunity for all of you. So taken together, all of these investments will lead to more opportunities, and we believe that because of the growth that we're seeing, not only are we having more partners join our network, but we're also seeing a lot of diversification happening in the APN. So one of the things that I've observed is that for the consulting partners, and when we first started APN back in 2012, the vast majority of the partners that we had on the consulting side were born-to-cloud SIs. Companies like BlazeClan, CloudReach, and Class Method, and Megazone. And we also had some forward-thinking established SIs like Slalom. But the network has now evolved to include next-generation MSPs like Bespin Global, BR Link, Storm Reply. We also have specialized SIs who are just focusing on a product like Amazon Connect. A company called Voice Foundry is doing a great job in building out that business. And we also have Lemongrass, who's just focusing on SAP and building a great business. And we also have established SIs, like Cognizant, through their acquisition of Contino, leaning in with AWS. Or you have a company like Virtusa of Fujitsu, who are all making big investments to grow their AWS practices. And we also have VARs like CDW, SHI, and Computer Center. And we also have public sector partners and even management consulting companies who are now working closely with us as cloud becomes an important C-level agenda, even a board-level agenda issue that requires their support to help the senior management think about how to best utilize cloud. On the technology partner side, we originally had a lot of ISVs who were on-premise infrastructure software focused, but that has also started to evolve. We now have born-to-cloud SaaS and PaaS partners like Druva, Sumo Logic, and Datadog. And we also have hardware manufacturers for IoT devices and machine learning, companies like Siemens, GE, or Beckhoff. And we also have silicon manufacturers and chip makers that are working closely with us, companies like NVIDIA and Intel. So along with this diversification that I just explained, the other interesting observation that we're seeing is the fact that there's a lot of collaboration that is happening among the partners, and we believe this is a very important thing to make APN stronger for our customers. So, one of the things that we're seeing is that the SIs are working with other SIs to utilize each other's specialty skills in areas like serverless or machine learning or IoT. And we also have SIs who are working with other SIs to combine forces to work on larger projects that they could not have done alone. And we also have ISVs who are working with VARs to gain that scale and distribution. And we also have ISVs working with consulting partners to build out a specialty practice around their solution. And one interesting example that I recently learned about that's a good example of a partner helping other partners is a company called NOPS. It's an advanced technology partner that provides a SaaS cloud management platform from AWS. They recently announced the availability of a partner version of its platform, which provides automated execution of AWS well-architected reviews. And this allows partners to reduce the time it takes to find potential issues or potential opportunities to drive better outcomes for their customers. And they also created a partner network to support partners who are using NOPS to deliver value-added services to their customers. And this is a great example of a partner who is not only innovating on behalf of their customers, but they're also innovating to help other partners. The key takeaway for partners is that wherever you're located, whatever your industry may be, or whatever specialty you may have, there are so many different types of opportunities for all of you to grow your businesses with AWS. But in my opinion, right now, the biggest opportunity for partner lies in helping customers with their digital transformation journeys so that they
There's
can
that phrase again.
take better advantage of all the innovations that AWS is bringing to the market. We talk about digital transformation with our customers in almost every single meeting. And as I mentioned, it is now a C-level imperative. Customers have realized that in order for them to be competitive in their respective markets, that they have to continuously innovate, invest into new technologies, and rethink the way they deliver services and experiences to their customers. And our customers turn to our APN partners to help with that journey. And our most successful partners are the partners who have used the APN programs to develop the specialization required to help customers transform and then innovate. So let's hear from some of our APN partners on how they are translating their expertise into customer success.
The need and the imperative to move to the cloud is actually right now.
The partnership with AWS lays the groundwork.
It's just built tremendous trust.
We deliver the central applications of government. Everything that's
I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm half tempted just to get a list of the announcements that are going to come from this keynote and just go over it myself with you guys.
Our enterprise and mid-market commercial that has
companies have to prioritize putting the right people on stage. It can make or break
We
an
work with the
entire
largest
show.
communication service providers in the world. And
I don't mean to come down on it. I came down hard on KubeCon last week.
About 1.7
I'm going to repeat the same thing. I don't care how big the vendor is. I've never keynoted in front of 50,000 people.
Partnership with AWS allows us to provide the
putting
same
the right,
service to
the
Loving
passion and
County,
the energy
Texas, with
on
a
stage
population of 143
makes all the difference
that we
in the
would to
world.
city
I don't
of Los
care what your
Angeles with a
title is. I don't
population of
care
10
what your
million.
rank
When
is in
I
the
talk to
company.
customers,
Put somebody
I
up
asked
there
them,
that's
what
got
are
some
their
oomph to
objectives?
them.
If you're trying to
get us
move your
excited.
business forward, effectively reinvent your business, then you have to look at cloud.
Each
And I
carrier
say that
has
to my
a different
NetApp
path.
colleagues
This is
as
the
well.
reality.
If you're
More
not the
traditional
strongest speaker,
systems
don't get up on
serve
stage.
the needs of the velocity
Go
required
take
from the
some
industry
power
today.
speaking
With
course.
AWS
I didn't wake up one
and
morning
with
and
the
become a good
APN,
speaker.
we were
I
able
took
to provide them
years
assurance
of power
and a
speaking
sense of comfort
courses,
around things
voiceover
like
classes,
scale, reliability,
podcasting
risk
episodes,
management
live
that they
streams,
couldn't
video
get with
making.
any other platform.
The
You don't
partnership
just
with
wake
AWS
up one morning and be a good
lays the
speaker.
groundwork for
It
how the
takes
public sector will
work
begin to
and
move
years
into the
of
public
experience.
cloud.
That's really the
Just getting
intersection
frustrated
of
and tired of
innovation,
seeing
scale,
a lot of these
reliability
companies
that
and
can be brought
keynotes
to the
just
table.
put bad
It's really
speakers up there
exciting
just
for them.
because they're an SVP of something. End rant.
These companies in the video are great examples of partners who are leveraging the breadth and depth of the AWS platform to innovate on behalf of their customers. And they're having transformative impact on their customers. Apps
That looks like the Bank of
Associates
America logo.
is impacting
Apps
customers
Associates.
across all industries by helping them migrate Oracle applications to AWS and modernizing those applications so that the customers can innovate by using native AWS services. Tyler Technologies is transforming the way governments, state and local governments, are delivering service to their consumers. And they're changing the way consumers are able to gain access to government information. And Amdocs, they recently developed a solution on top of AWS called Revenue One. And through that solution, they are helping telecom companies transform and also empowering them to move faster and capture new revenue opportunities in the 5G era. Another industry where we're seeing APN partners helping customers transform is the energy industry. And I'm excited to have one of those customers speak to you this morning.
Oh, thank God.
BP operates worldwide, and they
You can hear a
are
pin
working
drop
with
in
many
there.
different partners as they modernize and digitize their businesses.
There's likely
So to hear more,
10,000 people
please
in
join
that
me
theater.
in welcoming
You can hear
Stuart
a
Fry,
pin drop.
Vice President and CIO of Global Enterprise Systems at BP.
Thank you, Doug. BP's global energy business with enormous reach across the world's energy system. We operate from the deep sea to deserts, from rigs to retail. We find and produce energy resources, refine and market products, and we track, trade, and deliver the world's energy needs in real time. In 2018, our revenues were just under $300 billion. We have 73,000 employees, and we operate in 78 countries worldwide. Beyond our upstream and downstream businesses, we have just under 19,000 retail sites, and we also have a large alternative energy business in wind, solar, and biofuels. The energy industry is going through a remarkable level of transformation, which is happening at a considerable pace. Simply put, it's a dual challenge. The world could need up to 30% more energy by 2040 as a result of increasing prosperity, a decrease in poverty, and an increase in global population. This growth, however, must be balanced with the need to drastically reduce global carbon emissions. At BP, we believe the world is not on a sustainable path. We agree the world needs to move to net zero emissions, and we support a rapid transformation to a low-carbon future. The potential unleashed by digital, big data, and all advanced technologies is huge, allowing us to rapidly develop new ways to tackle emissions, improve our products, and to create new low-carbon businesses. In BP, we began our cloud journey in 2013, and like many others, it started with non-production environments, burst capacity, and we moved all of our internet presence onto AWS. We made our big decisions really in 2016, And we sat back and we thought about what are the big strategic things we need to do to enable this. The first one is we declared ourselves a cloud-first company, which meant that we stopped installing all compute and hardware into our on-premise environments. The second thing we did was that we committed to exit from our mega data centers. For us, we have them in 3 main locations, the US, Europe, and Asia. And then the third thing we did was we created a digital foundations program that sought to modernize our workplace, our networks, underpinned by a cloud transformation. As we moved into the new phase, we did establish our own BP engineering teams, and that's when we selected AWS as a cloud-leading service partner. Supported by AWS professional services and their training programs, we also had to turn to some professional companies to help us. And this is where we decided to work with a company called CloudReach. These guys brought some highly specialized skills that we just didn't have. And they really helped us establish our cloud regions, our technical patterns, ensured we automated everything first from the outset. And critical for our business was ensuring billing transparency for all of our businesses so they paid for what they consumed, something they were never able to do on an on-premise environment. We also made the decision to not lift and shift any applications from our existing data centers. And what that means is that every application that we've moved has gone through some level of transformation. What that means is at some levels that's quite small and it's just an upgrade of the OS to something more up-to-date, which is a modern one. Or it could have been moving the databases to Aurora, or it could have been to moving to RDS. For some applications, we've really just re-engineered them from the bottom up. BP, again, could never have done this on our own at the scale we wanted to work with, and this is where we've lent on some key application partners for us. Here, Infosys, Wipro, and SAP and Accenture have helped us with our SAP environments. So maybe using a couple of examples, BP has a very complex and big SAP landscape. We have over 65 production landscapes, and we've actually moved 32 of them already to AWS. In each of these cases, we've used the migration to modernize it. So what we've done here is for all of them, we've upgraded the databases from legacy databases to SAP, ASE, or to HANA.
They're doing a ton of stuff in Azure as well.
And we've actually upgraded all the other components as well.
That's the fun irony here.
We recently moved a strategic fuels instance for us, which was 16 terabytes in size. We moved that in less than 60 hours outage from our business teams. The reason we're able to do that is we can call upon the power of AWS during the migration. So during the middle of the migration, we spun up a 123 core compute environment that allowed us to ensure that we never came into contact with the business window that we didn't want to break out of. We're seeing really good benefits as a result. The most notable being around cost agility, reduced capital, and improved performance. On average, we're seeing our system response times improve by over 30% in the SAP landscape, moving it from on-premise to AWS.
Damn.
A second example relates to a refinery optimization software we use. So the first thing I would say is refineries are incredibly complex systems. We use an application to optimize these and to make some pretty critical decisions every day. Previously, we ran this application on-premise, and the calculations took in excess of 7 hours to complete. We've modernized the application and migrated it to AWS, and the same calculations now complete in less than 4 minutes. So where are we more generally in our transformation? As you can see, we're making good progress, but we still have a long way to go to complete the ambitions I laid out earlier today.
2,000 applications.
So today, we're pleased to be able to announce that we're going all in with AWS to support the exit from our 2 European mega data centers. These are the largest that we have, the most complex, and AWS will help us migrate over 900 business-critical applications as part of this move.
I wonder if that's driven by Brexit. But I mean, regardless, that's impressive.
Additionally, today we announced a renewable power purchase agreement between BP and AWS. This renewable power will be used across a number of AWS data centers, benefiting both BP and many other customers. This further underpins both companies' commitment to supporting a rapid transition to a low-carbon future.
Good for them.
So what's next? We're doing a lot with AWS beyond the migrations that I've talked about. We're using Alexa for business in retail operations. We're using AWS Kinesis for video streaming analysis, for emissions monitoring, forecourt operations, and improving our customer experience. We're using the native AWS data services for our downstream alternative energy, trading and functions activities, and much, much more. AWS continues to be a very big part of BP's digital transformation, and along with the APN
There's that
partner
phrase
community,
again.
remains vital to our success. Thank you very much.
Hashtag digital transformation. Back to the no energy guy.
Thank you, Stuart, and thank you for your partnership. It means a lot to us. As Stuart Stewart just highlighted, as customers go through digital transformation, they become better prepared to innovate and to take advantage of all the innovations that AWS has. And customers like BP are choosing AWS to innovate. They want to leverage the breadth and depth of the platform that we have to innovate. And in particular, we're seeing a lot of customers using containers, machine learning, and Amazon Connect to drive that innovation inside their companies. So I'd like to dive deeper into each and find out how APN partners with deep skills and experience are helping customers innovate. First, containers. We have seen container adoption accelerate over the past few years as enterprise customers are using containers to improve developer agility and to break down legacy applications into microservices to improve feature velocity and application resilience. Our container competency SI partners are helping customers adopt modern DevOps practices, modernize legacy apps, and manage the apps on top of our container services. And our container ISV partners are helping us accelerate the adoption inside enterprises by integrating to our managed container services like EKS, ECS, and Fargate to bring additional value around security, observability, CI/CD, and automation. As a result, customers can get to deploy containers into production faster. A great example of an ISV adding value for our customers is our advanced technology partner, HashiCorp. HashiCorp has integrated with more than 100 AWS services, including AWS Lambda, Fargate, EKS, and ECS, and has enabled some of the world's largest companies to deliver applications faster by helping them transition to a self-service automation and DevOps practices at enterprise scale on AWS. One of its customers is Elsevier, a Dutch publishing and analytics company. Elsevier needed a container solution to help their development teams adopt microservices architecture. By leveraging HashiCorp's Terraform, Consul, and Nomad products, this empowered Elsevier to design and build a framework to enable more than 1,000 developers to create container cluster and deploy to production standards in minutes. Machine learning is another area where partners are having a significant impact on our customers. As Andy talked about yesterday, we have 3 layers in the ML stack. The bottom layer is the infrastructure and frameworks. The middle layer is the managed ML services, and the top layer is the AI services. Our investments into each layer is making machine learning much easier and also much more powerful for our partners. Our partners are able to meet a wider array of customer needs, iterate and explore faster for finding the best machine learning models, and achieve more accurate results in a more cost-effective way. ML competency technology partners are providing the tools and solutions to help developers and ML practitioners spanning data services, ML platforms, and SaaS and API solutions. And our ML competency consulting partners have an opportunity for them to combine their industry expertise and IP with their technical and delivery capabilities to solve customers' complex business challenges. And one example comes from our advanced consulting partner, Peak. Peak is helping Foot Asylum, a leading fashion footwear retailer in the UK, by using its ML power algorithms to draw insights from past transactional and behavioral data of Foot Asylum customers. And Peak is hosting these machine learning models on AWS SageMaker. And using the Peak solution, Foot Asylum can deliver highly targeted, personalized marketing communications to existing and new customers, promote products, and advertise promotional offers. And they've been able to see a 28% uplift in revenue per email sent, and has seen an 8,400% return on ad spend, which is 30 times higher than the industry average. And Amazon Connect is having an amazing resonance with customers globally. And with the launch of Contact Lens for Amazon Connect, we see the value that it brings to our customers increase even more over time. And we already have hundreds of consulting partners
that's an eye chart.
who are working with our customers to use Connect to completely transform the customer service experience. And what I personally find interesting and exciting about Connect is that it allows our ISV partners to develop value-added offerings on top of Connect in areas like customer relationship management, or security, or analytics, or AI. And strong example of how partners are leveraging the power of Amazon Connect are Salesforce and Zendesk. Salesforce recently announced that they will be offering a pre-integrated version of Service Cloud with Amazon Connect as well as Amazon Transcribe. This combination will provide Salesforce customers with the most convenient, quickest path to deploying a voice-enabled Service Cloud solution. And Zendesk has worked closely with AWS to enhance the integration between Amazon Connect and Zendesk Talk Partner Edition. And this integration will allow both Amazon Connect customers and Zendesk customers to leverage the multiple AI ML services from AWS to improve agency efficiency and reduce the customer service interaction time. So I'd like to invite one of our customers on stage now to share how APM partners have helped them implement some exciting innovations inside their company. Please join me in welcoming Chris Cerruto, Vice President at Avis, to share how they're transforming the way they approach mobility.
Thanks, Doug. I'm happy to be here. I'm thrilled to get a chance to share a little bit of our story of transformation with you about Avis Budget Group. So a bit about us. We're a global leader in mobility services, operating in more than 180 countries worldwide. You'll likely recognize some of our brands: Avis and Budget for car and truck rental, and Zipcar, the world's largest car-sharing network. We offer a range of different services to bring vehicles closer to where our customers need them and when. Whether it's by the minute or by the hour, whether it's a one-way trip, a weekly or a month-long. Now, a couple of years ago, like many of you, I'm sure, we started to see a dramatic shift in consumer preferences. More to on-demand services, more to access of a vehicle versus ownership. to mobile-first applications. And what we found was our customers not only expect, but they're more demanding personalization and transparency, right? So we knew that we had to innovate our technology platform to be able to meet these customers where they were now, but also to be agile enough to meet the needs of tomorrow's customers. And so about 2 years ago, it's factored into our decision to fundamentally transform our company. Now, we're a legacy company, all right? So as one that's been in business for more than 70 years, as you can imagine, we've invested in legacy technology. But we've run a very successful business. And to put it in perspective, we have more than 600,000 cars globally that we operate. And really what that means is it adds up to more than $18 billion. In addition to the customer preferences that we saw changing, the other thing that we really saw was a massive change in the marketplace with aggressive new competitors in mobility. And we knew that we didn't have the luxury to sit around and wait and evolve. We knew we needed to transform. We knew we needed to do it now, and we needed to do it right. So we knew we needed both the technology platform as well as partners to help us on our journey. Enter Amazon Web Services. So we saw our move to AWS not as much as a lift and shift, but rather as a way to remove barriers, to allow us to pave a road to innovate. And now AWS is home for many of the critical components of our mobility platform, including our connected vehicle solution, which powers our global telematics hub. This is where we bring vehicle data from across our fleet, different make, model, years, into a single environment. And this lets us make decisions now in almost real time. We added real-time analytics in AWS using SageMaker and Lambda for serverless compute. And we designed and built our advanced data and our entire BI platform, also in AWS, which features our global enterprise data lake, our real-time data warehouse, and our visualization tools, leveraging AWS tech like Redshift and EMR. Now, this sounds really cool, right? Sounds cool, but so what? What does that mean? Let me tell you. For the first time ever, our cars are talking to us. So what does that mean? Well, before this, you can imagine, before AWS, at a given lot, an Avis employee would have to manually check every single tire for tire pressure before those vehicles could go out on rent. Now our cars tell us if they need air, and they'll tell us which tire needs attention, and they'll even tell us where they are in the lot. Sounds small, you can imagine, but now look at this across 2.4 million tires in our fleet, and you can imagine some of the efficiencies that we would gain. In addition, now when cars are returned and they get scanned in, we make an API call, real time, to AWS Analytics to determine what we do with the vehicle next. Whether we're gonna get that car out immediately for rent, or whether we're gonna park it in a back lot. And this has allowed us to learn and change on the fly, but also keep the agent's experience simple. Now, when it comes to innovation, it is about partnerships as well. We couldn't have done this without help. Partners that we've integrated with that have provided new services to our customers that we don't have. Partners that we've integrated with that provide new lines of business and new revenue that we never would have had. APN technology partners that we've leveraged for the software and the services that are all running in our environment. And APN consulting partners that have helped us to design and implement all of this solution. By taking advantage of this partner ecosystem, we've been able to hit the ground running immediately, but also take advantage of all this great emerging tech that's going on. We're able to move fast, which we know we needed. Now, let me give some examples of how partners helped us on our journey. We chose Slalom to help us set up our real-time analytics environment in SageMaker. And what was great is they brought expertise we didn't have in-house in both the technology as well as in data science. And Slalom teamed up with TCS to help design and implement all of the components of our connected vehicle solution. TCS was also instrumental in helping us to rewrite and migrate a mission-critical mainframe application that delivers up-to-the-minute car rental rates to third-party travel sites as well. So all in all, our investment in innovation in our platform has benefited us financially immediately. We've seen benefits in cost through savings in operations, and we've seen an increase in revenue by driving up customer satisfaction, as well as by opening up avenues to new lines of business that we didn't have. For example, our connected cars can now report fuel to us within 1/10 of a gallon. And what that means is that now we're able to recoup more than $1 of what would have been otherwise lost fuel per transaction. And so you can imagine at 167 million rental days, that does add up really quickly. Also, when you have a fleet of more than 600,000 vehicles, it does happen occasionally that one of the cars may not be where you think it's going to be. And before AWS, we had limited means to be able to locate a vehicle and to be able to recover it. And now, the cars tell us exactly where they are. And so this has allowed us to take our average recovery time for a vehicle from 20+ days down to 2. Now, the benefits don't stop at just financial. I'm super thrilled to see that we've increased our overall customer satisfaction tremendously. And I'm also really excited to share with you guys that our Avis mobile app was just awarded the best mobile travel application by J.D. Power. Thank you. Thank you. We're thrilled. Yeah. This has also opened up avenues for new revenue for us to use our connected car data. So whether it's through fleet management as a service, where we offer the same platform that powers our fleet to other fleet owners, or whether it's through our Data for Good initiative, where we team up with cities and municipalities to fight things like congestion and traffic, or whether it's through our newly launched developer program. So, what is next for Avis Budget Group? Well, we see ourselves leading a mobility ecosystem, one where all the connected cars come together with smart cities and other partners, and we bring new services and a whole new experience to our customers. But that's just the beginning. We're not at the end of the yellow brick road. We just got on it. It's time to be fearless. And it's time for us to build our own roads and pave a new future together. We couldn't be more excited about the future of mobility, about the role we get to play in it, about all the collaboration we've had with AWS partners and with AWS itself. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Chris. That's such a great story of how Avis is working backwards from their customers to develop innovative solutions that improve their customer experience. It's a great story. As
who doesn't love a good customer
like
story?
Avis Budget Group,
Those guys are doing some good stuff, and kudos to them.
To the cloud, as part of their digital transformation process, they want access to the same software that they had when they were on premises as they migrate over to AWS. And that is why we worked really hard to work with the industry-leading ISV software companies to make sure that their software was made available on AWS. And we're seeing a great number of those ISVs becoming very successful, working with our AWS customers. But one of the things that we're also observing is that enterprise customers, as they move to the cloud, are looking for additional innovations that they can leverage in the cloud. And they're looking to work closely with startups. And as all of you know, we've always been very passionate about working with startups, and startups really love working with AWS. We offer many programs for startups, including our AWS Activate program, which provides a number of resources to help entrepreneurs get started on AWS with things like AWS credits, training, and support. And we have a great AWS startup team made up of entrepreneurs and investors who really understand how important it is for startups to move at speed. And additionally, We understand that startups usually have smaller teams, and they require more prescriptive guidance and also assistance in finding the right APN programs or resources that are suitable for their business needs. And the other thing that we are seeing is that there are a number of mid to late stage startup companies in the enterprise space who already have a product that is gaining traction with some of their customers, but they're looking for additional support from AWS for us to jointly execute on a go-to-market strategy, especially for the enterprise segment. So today, I'm excited to announce the APN Global Startup Program. The program helps startups become enterprise ready
A little
by
half-hearted
providing
round of applause
increased
there.
prescriptive benefits and also accelerated path to APN requirements and a more robust set of resources to help startups become much faster in achieving their growth aspirations. And to participate in this program, the startups need to meet certain criteria. One, they need to have raised a Series A or later funding from a top VC fund. Two,
Who decides who
they
the
need
top
to have an
VCs are?
innovative enterprise tech solution that's running on AWS with at least one product in GA. And third,
Oh, you got to have a product in
we need
GA,
to
but
make
you're a
sure
startup.
that their executive team, whether that's the founder or other senior leaders, who are committed to engaging with AWS to make sure that the partnership is successful. We have over 270 launch partners in the program today, and we're
know if I
seeing
like
some
that GA
exciting
requirement.
products and innovative solutions coming out of these companies.
When startup needs,
for example,
they need the help the most is when they're trying to build their
Sisense
MVP. They have
offers an
very little
independent
funding.
analytics
They
platform
need
that
the
is
support.
tightly
They don't have the
integrated with
engineering
AWS
resources.
and enables
By the time you've
developers,
got funding
business
and you've
users,
got a
and
GA
data
product,
scientists
you're pretty well
to
set. You
all
probably don't
collaborate
need that much
together
help
on a
like
single
a global
platform.
startup program.
Auth0
Just saying.
is an identity platform for application builders.
How much are you really
and
helping?
provides customers with an identity solution for their web, mobile, and IoT applications. And Benchling is a life science R&D software used by more than 180,000 scientists worldwide to collaborate on experiments and manage research workflows. These are pretty amazing companies. The other key benefit for startups to work with AWS, I believe, is AWS Marketplace. Many of our partners that you just saw on the screen, they already have their products listed on Marketplace. Companies like Delphix or Wirewheel, Spotinst, DataCoral, they all have their listings, and they're already gaining access to the millions of customers that use AWS. But obviously, Marketplace's impact goes far beyond the startups. All of the ISVs that we work with are benefiting significantly from using Marketplace to reach new customers. AWS Marketplace launched at the same time as the APN, and there has always been a tight connection between the two. It has been a route to market ever since its inception, but it's become so much more. And to tell you more about the latest innovations in Marketplace, I'd like to invite my colleague, Dave McCann, to the stage to give you an update. But first, a quick video.
AWS Marketplace accelerates the growth of our AWS business.
AWS has transformed the way customers consume technology.
Helps us work together to help our customers be successful with their journey to the cloud.
AWS Marketplace enables its partners to enhance their customers' cloud transformation, no matter how they use it. Partners like New Relic help make informed decisions on how to move and optimize your applications to the AWS cloud.
We work with some of the largest enterprises in the world as they journey to the cloud, and that's why we love AWS Marketplace's private offers capabilities. We help our customers succeed in building more perfect software.
Or Optiv, whose cloud solution helps their clients reduce their risk in cybersecurity.
We're seeing more and more of our customers move into AWS Cloud. Our partners like Palo Alto Networks, Fortinet, CrowdStrike, Trend Micro, and others are listed in the marketplace to provide our customers a wide variety of options.
And CrowdStrike, where every second counts and whose solutions can secure any workload you're running.
Finding the right products to secure cloud workloads is critical to the success of any company's cloud migration journey. We're all about immediate time to value for our customers.
Our customers want to go strategic with Amazon Web Services.
Customers really like AWS Marketplace because it integrates right into their AWS bill and spend management tools.
AWS Marketplace eliminates lengthy legal negotiations, saving time, money, and frustration.
We've been an early adopter in the AWS Marketplace because we believe in the power of what it can do for our customers. It's been an amazing partnership because it's been driven by our joint interest in our customer success.
This is AWS Marketplace.
Please welcome Vice President of Migration, Marketplace, and Control Services, Dave McCann.
Come on, Dave. Bring some energy.
Good morning.
Morning.
It's a pleasure to be here, and can't believe this is my 6th reInvent, and the room gets bigger every year. Everybody in this room is involved in the supply chain of software and services to customers. And what I want to do very quickly is give you an update on how we're transforming that supply chain. And the supply chain that you're participating in and you're a key enabler of is the innovation for our customers is made possible by software. And software is a $450 billion supply chain, and it's growing at 8%. It's an expanding business opportunity. That's a $30 billion increase every year that organizations are spending on software. And if you talk to CIOs, where their budget for software was 18% of the IT budget was software, it's rising. And one recent pharmaceutical CIO told me that his budget is now 25% for software. But software, the transformation that's going on is the move to cloud. And how do we provision software in a modern way for the cloud? And how do you, as our partners, either as a software partner or a consulting partner, how do you help the customer go faster, go and innovate quicker, reduce costs? So let's talk about what a supply chain and a marketplace is. A marketplace is where buyers and sellers exchange value. And in the old days, we shipped CDs, we ordered servers, it took 3 months. In a modern supply chain, we're working with distributed development teams. Customers want to be like AWS. They want to have 2 pizza teams. They're on 2-week sprints, and they can build a product in 90 days. And so the ISV needs to modernize the supply chain right to the developer who wants to make decisions quickly, and the buyer is a development team, and they use many products on a project. Governance, however, says that finance, legal, and procurement need to know that risk is being managed well, and what everybody really wants is best price. And 2 years ago, we launched private offers, which is where the customer can negotiate terms and price between you, the ISV, and the buyer. And then we launched it for consulting partners, and let's talk about how that's playing out. The thing I think I would have you all think about that we've learned this year is that architects at customers, and Stuart at BP has a set of architects. Those architects are over different domains: networking, security, BI, DevOps, migration. And each architectural team are making choices over vendor, choices over contract type, whether it's over Kubernetes or whether it is over instance or whether it is over SaaS. Security has to be everywhere. Everything has to be secured. Machine learning says that intelligence is now a new business transformation mandate, and CIOs of application portfolios all have to make choices about software. But there are a few people in legal, finance, and IT who are trying to move as fast as the developers. So you have 6,000 developers on the right-hand side and 20 people on the left-hand side, and we're modernizing that supply chain. And we're building that capability, working with partners sitting in this audience. And there are multiple activities going on. And how do we speed this up? The first thing we have to do is meet the builder where the builder is. And when we launched Marketplace, Marketplace was a site. Then we put Marketplace in our #1 console, which is the EC2 console. But in the last year, we've extended Marketplace discovery into the ECS console, the EKS console, the SageMaker console, and I'm pleased to say that last week we exposed Marketplace and a set of vendors in the Redshift console. Now, application buyers want to discover applications organized by industry. So while we embed infrastructure software into the right console, we've also launched this year healthcare marketplace, financial services marketplace, a telco marketplace, a public sector marketplace, and there will be further vertical expressions and collections of software for the application buyer. We want to make it easy and fast because cloud is about agility. Now, as we do that, the most compelling thing you do in a marketplace is you give the buyer, the developer, the builder, the architect, best choice. And we call that in Amazon selection. And I'm delighted to say this morning that we're launching in Marketplace 100 new additional ISVs.
Wow.
And we have people in security like FireEye who have now published, or over in the data space with a Veeam, or you move into the data movement space with a Talend. And in DevOps, where people want to have the best tools possible, I'm pleased to say that we're launching GitHub and HashiCorp in Marketplace. And then as we begin to put more vertical applications into Marketplace, in financial services, I'm delighted to say we're launching with FICO. And in healthcare, $3.5 billion public software company Change Healthcare is now publishing multiple applications right into Marketplace. So selection and choice is really important. And if you're a software
big names
vendor,
in that list
we're
there.
publishing you to the millions of customers worldwide. Now, as we increase
NetApp's
selection,
in there as well with
that
Cloud
causes
Volumes and
momentum.
Cloud Volumes on tap.
And every time we add an ISV, it brings an intentional developer. And that intentional developer has a project. And so now we have over 1 million active subscriptions. It's rising by the day. And so while I'm on stage here, there'll be people around the world who are subscribing to a product. And it could be in a dev account, it could be in a prod account, it could be in a learning account. And we have over 260,000 active customers that are now using Marketplace. And we have large corporations with over 1,000 subscriptions. Our largest customer has over 2,000 subscriptions, and it's not uncommon for a company to have purchased 30, 40, 50 vendors now out of Marketplace. And as we expand listings, it creates this repeated pattern. So we're transforming the customer experience. So if
It's
you're an
the App Store
ISV and
mentality.
you're not in Marketplace,
Really
you
what
should
it
be
is.
thinking that the customer's
It's
learning how to
this.
procure in Marketplace. Now, until now, we've been discussing software in Marketplace, which is a $450 billion supply chain. But as one analyst said recently, the currency of the 21st century is data.
Yep.
And so 2 weeks ago, we launched a new service in AWS built on top of Marketplace called AWS Data Exchange. Now, Data Exchange brings to the data industry what Marketplace has brought to the software supply chain. It has a standardized API. Vendors can publish to that API. And I, as a data consumer, a business analyst or a data analyst at a pharma company or a data analyst at a bank, can go into a new console, Data Exchange. I can discover it in Marketplace, point, click, subscribe, and move it straight into my S3 bucket. And more importantly, that data supply is going to be refreshed daily or weekly by the supplier, so I can have a Lambda function triggered to bring in new versions from my supplier, and I get an SNS notification that a new version of the data file that my application used has been moved into my S3 bucket, and now I have an automated supply chain for my data
So
suppliers.
is this where all our data
In
that
the
gets
past,
collected
if you
is
are a
sold?
pharma company,
It's now being openly
you're
done in
bringing
AWS? I hope not.
5,000
I'm
data
making a
suppliers
joke,
from
but
5,000 different APIs.
maybe not.
And now you
Where's
have a
all this
common
data
API
coming from?
into your S3
And
bucket.
how
And we
can
have
people
tremendously
buy
successful data suppliers for financial services?
I'm
like
assuming it's
Thomson Reuters,
anonymized
or a
data.
Equifax or a TransUnion.
Similar to Google Ads and
And for
AdSense
healthcare,
and things like that.
we have Change Healthcare, whose data is anonymized patient patterns that insurers and hospitals want to use to reduce
There
cancer
we go.
treatment costs. And over in location and shipping-based area, we have consumer data from the likes of a Foursquare. And we're building out the same data supply model for Data Exchange as we are for Marketplace. So if you now combine data and software, the private offers work that we've done in the last year has been an invitation-only program. We've had over 100 software companies help work with us on tuning, modifying, and improving our private offer workflow between the buyer and the provider, the seller. And I'm pleased to announce today that we're now making private offers available to all ISVs in Marketplace as of
If you're not
today.
familiar with private offers, it's a way to do a contract between a channel partner and AWS.
So if you're a product manager, a sales director,
with a discounted
VP of
negotiated
operations, and
rate.
you go into
Think
the
about it that way.
Marketplace
It's a way to
seller
do
portal
a
this
PO
morning,
of sorts.
There's
right?
a new
It's
little
a
button
contract.
that allows you to create private offer. You could be dealing with the VP of procurement or the director of engineering at your customer. You can negotiate price and terms. And what we've observed with thousands of private offers done across thousands of companies is that during the negotiation, you're actually going to change that private offer term 4 or 5 times in the last 3 weeks of the quarter. As legal puts in new terms, price comes up, price goes down, payment terms get negotiated, and all the payment terms, the pricing, the legal, can all be modified, iterated in the private offer, published, subscribed, billed, and collected. This used to be called CPQ, Configure Price Quote, and there was quote to cash, and we've automated the entire supply chain transaction from quote to collection and disbursement. And for financial reporting, we've worked with top companies like New Relic and with Splunk, and thank you to them and to Trend, to improve the reporting back to the ISV. So we're doing a full digital transformation here. Now, Amazon, over the years, and Andy talks about this, AWS as part of our supply chain model constantly improves the cost equation. And I'm pleased to announce this morning that this is the 78th price cut from AWS, and we're reducing the fulfillment fees on private offers.
What?
So effective 2020, the fee that the ISV pays for the billing, the fulfillment, the disbursement, the collection, those fees will be adjusted by 10% or greater depending on the price tier for that private offer model. Now, another key fact is that most software goes through a consulting partner or a VAR. And if you ask the large software companies like a Cisco or a Trend or a Splunk or a NetApp, a lot of their software, 70 to 90% depending on a vendor, actually goes through a VAR because you give them reach, the partner gives them reach in 195 countries, and they just don't have enough people to deal with customers. So I'm pleased to say that we've iterated new versions of private offers for consulting partners. And the consulting partners that we've been working with to design the new improvements are leaders like Optiv in the security space, SHI and rack space, Computer Center in Europe, Presidio, and we've iterated a set of changes. And now, in actual fact, the ISV can issue a wholesale price to the partner, and the partner can go run a campaign to their customers and issue private offers to the customers. And then payment terms are negotiated by the reseller, and again, everything is automated in Marketplace. So we're transforming the supply chain with the consulting partner. Now, that's been through private offers. A number of our partners actually have their own private portal to customer, and they really want the Marketplace experience visible in their private portal. And I'm pleased to say that when we launched Data Exchange, we worked with the Deloitte Health and Life Sciences division, and in one of their products, they have now exposed the Marketplace data in their portal to their customers, and thousands of data scientists using the Deloitte platform can see the data offers directly in the Deloitte platform. And in the government sector in the US, our first partner there is DLT, so this is a permissioned API. We provide the API to the reseller, and the reseller can curate what the reseller displays in their authenticated portal to the customer. And it gives the reseller a private portal direct to customer. This is available today. Now, I've talked about innovating for the ISV. I've talked about innovating for the consulting partner. But in a marketplace, you have to innovate for the buyer. And for the buyer, in governance, while the engineer wants to point, click, subscribe in Marketplace, procurement and legal need to keep a record in procurement. And that's a Sarbanes-Oxley control issue, particularly over $75,000 if you're a publicly regulated company. And so I'm pleased to say that last week we released our integration with Ariba, and most large companies use either Coupa or Ariba, and you can now integrate that workflow directly into the procurement system. And then if you're moving over onto containers and Kubernetes, we, a few weeks ago, released long-term contracts on Kubernetes, and we have ISVs that have gone out quickly with us on this. And then for IT finance who want to know if you're over budget, we've released new capabilities in Marketplace to inherit the tags on the EC2 instance, attach it to the software, and make it available in cost and visibility reporting for partners like Cloud Health, Cloudability, and Cloud Checker. So IT, finance, and legal have to benefit from this supply chain transformation. And one of the hardest parts of supplying software into a customer is where on the network, how on the network, how is it mapped to the VPC, what is the risk? And I'm pleased to say that the EC2 networking team released VPC Ingress this week. And with VPC Ingress, we're exposing layer 2 traffic, and their top networking and security partners in Marketplace can automatically now read the traffic on that VPC and increase security and visibility on that network traffic. And we have a whole set of vendors that can now create new versions of the product in Marketplace, leveraging a brand new feature right out of the networking team, visible in the EC2 console. And this is an example of the flywheel of innovation that partners get with Marketplace integration. So in totality, we automate for the buyer, we automate for the consulting partner, we automate for the seller, we take cost and friction, we go right to the console of the developer, we allow you to publish fast on a catalog API, you can now view in a discovery API, and we're allowing our customers to innovate faster. And this is a growing category in the industry of software, and the opportunity for you is to grow your business and your consulting expertise by giving customers software in Marketplace at fast speed to distributed teams. Thank you very much.
Good stuff. There is some consternation about AWS Marketplace. AWS wants to be the distributor of everything too, so they don't really play well with the disties.
It's awesome to hear about all the
Marketplace is not only an app store, but they're a distributor.
Marketplace.
They're sort of acting as a distributor. So,
as I mentioned,
but they
in the
seem to be
beginning,
executing pretty well.
We always knew partners would be a strategic part of our business. And this is something that our CEO, Andy Jassy, has been very vocal about. And I'd like to invite Andy to the stage to talk about how partners are impacting our business. Hey, Andy.
Hey, Doug.
Great to have you here.
Great to be here.
It's a little strange because the last couple of years I've been in the backstage watching you on stage, so it's kind of strange being here.
Yeah, it's great. I was lucky enough to have Doug, for those of you who didn't know, as my chief of staff, and all the things that look good up here the last couple of years, Doug was a big piece of, and it's fun to be here as a guest.
Thank you. When I was your chief of staff, we spent a lot of time in customer meetings and partner meetings together. And after some of those meetings, you would tell me how important partners are to our business. And so I thought it would be great if you can just share some thoughts about what you think partners mean to our business and how you would like to see them evolve over time.
Sure. Well, really since the very start of AWS, I mean, really since we first imagined the business and we launched some of the services, we always felt like the partner ecosystem was going to be incredibly strategic to the business, and it has been, and primarily because our customers need the people in this room. Our customers want to move to the cloud with software they've been using for a long period of time, or increasingly taking advantage of the new software that's available that they can run on top of the cloud. And then they want to work with, they need help moving to the cloud and thinking through how to migrate and how to modernize and how to think about the new world of data and really how to evolve their businesses. And so we've had a very deep focus in working with the partner ecosystem. If you look at the ISV and SaaS community, the vast majority of them have adapted their software to run on top of AWS, and lots of folks in the room, Salesforce and Workday and Splunk and Infor and Informatica and TIBCO and Twilio. It's a very, very broad group. And same thing with systems integrators where everyone from the very large global systems integrators like Deloitte and Accenture and Cognizant and Capgemini and Wipro and Infosys to a lot of the emerging and fast-growing regional SIs like Slalom and Rackspace and then a lot of the born in the cloud SIs like Second Watch and Annika and ClearScale and all cloud and Cloud Reach and Cloud Pak. It's a very broad and diverse ecosystem, and there's just no way that customers would have made the progress that they've made so fast without the people in this room. I think a lot of times people will ask us, did you predict that the business would have grown as fast as it has? And all of us say no. I mean, I think when we started thinking about this back in 2003 and first launched some of the services in 2006, if you'd told us where we were today, we would have taken it in a nanosecond. But a big piece of it has been the people in this room that have helped customers move much more quickly and invent at a much faster clip for their customers and save money in the process.
Oh. Yeah, I think you would agree that we have so much more opportunities right now ahead of us. This week, we've been talking a lot about transformation.
Yeah.
How can partners help customers with that transformation? And also, how should partners think about potentially transforming themselves?
Yeah, it's a good question. And, I think that if you think about the 6 key pieces that we talked about yesterday during my keynote in what constitute major transformations, that first piece that I talked about, which is really not technical, but very much about leadership, is something that I think really applies to a lot of the people in this room and to our partner ecosystem as well. I mean, this is an incredible opportunity, unlike any other that we've had in our lifetimes and that we will in our lifetimes, to transform companies and to transform yourselves. And it starts with trying to make some of the hard decisions you have to make on what you're going to prioritize and where you're going to take your businesses. And Doug and I have had lots of conversations because we were fortunate to spend a lot of time together when he was chief of staff. And we talk a lot about, in my opinion, one of the very most important things as a senior leader that is often underrated is prioritization. If you want to do something well and something that's one of the best in the world, you can't do everything. And so when people present you a choice, and the choice is, do you want to do these 8 things? And you say yes. Or do you want to do these 3 or 4 things equally? And you say yes. You're not really making a choice. In fact, the prioritization decision you're making is not to prioritize. And so you have to make some hard decisions about what you're going to do in the business. And that's, it's part of what I was talking about yesterday, where companies have to make the decision they're going to transform and get the senior leadership team aligned and then pick aggressive top-down goals. But it's true here too. And I look at a few examples. If I look maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and the major contributors as systems integrators in our ecosystem, I would say that a company like Deloitte was doing some business, but not a lot, not a major player. And I just look at the way that Janet Foudy came in, who was running Deloitte at the time on the consulting side, and she just totally changed the way that they approached the cloud and the partnership that we had with them. And but it was a very conscious top-down decision that she got her team aligned, that they were going to actually make a big push, and then she built very aggressive goals and drove it all the way through. And Deloitte has an amazing senior leadership team, and they are one of our very top SI partners today. But that happened because a senior leader, top-down, got the team aligned and picked an aggressive top-down goal and made it happen. And I would say I could tell almost an exact story, although a little bit different background, with what Brad Jackson did at Slalom. He saw earlier than a lot of other folks what was happening and decided not to hedge his bets in an equal way. And he got really committed to the cloud and really committed to helping his clients move into this next generation and very deep with AWS. And just again, one of our very top partners and helping a lot of companies move. I see the same thing with Kevin Jones at Rackspace right now. And I think you've got to make a decision, because it's hard if you try to be everything to everybody and try to be good at everything, you end up usually being mediocre at everything. And when we talk to customers, and they ask us all the time, who should we work with to modernize and to move into the cloud? What they want is not just somebody who they've heard of, although a lot of times they're willing to work with an SI they haven't heard of. What they care most about is, are there a lot of people who've been trained in a platform and and who are deep in it and have dedicated professionals to it and who have done a lot of jobs helping companies move, even lots of pilot jobs. It's kind of like if you have to get surgery, and I had surgery in the last year, and everybody told me the main question to ask the doctors that I was talking to were, how many times have you done the surgery? It's a pretty good question, and I think customers are going to ask, they do ask that same type of question, and so I think that's the number one thing I think that a lot of companies have to figure out is making that prioritization decision on what you're going to focus on and what you're going to be great at, because you can't be great at everything. And then, I think that there are, if I were involved in an SI, the opportunities to help companies modernize and do mass migrations is such an incredible opportunity. Almost every significant enterprise needs help doing that. And it's just, from the basics of building data lakes and landing zones and helping people move away from mainframes and helping people move to more open and performant relational database options, continuing to transition from Windows to Linux. I mean, there's all these things that go lockstep with making these big mass migrations that are giant opportunities. And if you actually do that work for customers, when you're done, it's not like they say goodbye to you. There are all kinds of opportunities because you know the customer so well and you've been so instrumental in helping them move to this new technology platform that you can have other ways to help grow as well. So those are some of the things. I think on the ISV side, if you haven't adapted your software to work in the cloud yet, I would really giddy up on that one. And if you haven't adjusted your business model to have per hour pricing and the type of pricing people expect in the cloud, also something really important. And then, I think that you should be really thinking carefully about how you can use machine learning and AI in what you're doing, because I think virtually every area of software is going to be reinvented over time with cloud and machine learning as the linchpins underneath them.
Yeah, thanks for that, Andy. I completely agree on the point that you made about making those hard trade-offs. And I think a lot of us sometimes underestimate the importance of those making trade-offs. So let's talk about innovation. Yesterday was pretty amazing with all those new services that we launched. And I was just telling the audience that when we launch these new services, it creates new opportunities for our partners to help our customers. And there are going to be a lot of new business models that can be built around those new innovations. So, in your opinion, what are 2 or 3 top new services that we launched yesterday, or just areas where you think the partner should really focus on?
2 or 3.
I know we have many.
It's not a soup question, Doug. I think that, there's a lot of them, and I'll just try to pick a few. I think, first off, just given the age that we live in with how much data is being stored, and as I was trying to share yesterday, I have this very strong belief, which I don't think is brain surgery, that as much data is being stored today and processed and analyzed, it's a fraction of what's coming the next 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
I think just helping customers think about what analytics tools they should be using and the right purpose-built databases that are going to help them change what their applications can do and the customer experience they provide is a great opportunity. And again, it comes down to a little bit to prioritization and what you want to do, but I think that there have been a lot of practices over time that have been focused on trying to help people move to some of the older guard commercial grade relational databases. And I just think the day of most of the workloads running on them have come and gone. I mean, companies with modern technology capabilities are not going to be running the vast majority of their applications on relational databases. So I think trying to get your heads around that and helping customers think that through and think about what the right tool for the right job is, and then using, again, getting the right data store and data lake set up with the right analytics tools on top of them is kind of the first area. I'd say the second would be, I just think that machine learning, the opportunities in that space, I believe that virtually every application over time is going to be infused with machine learning and AI in some fashion, and the tools that you now have available to you to help your customers build machine learning models and deploy them into production is just wildly different from what existed 3 or 4 years ago with what's there with SageMaker and now SageMaker Studio. So I just think those are incredible opportunities to change businesses. And I think the edge too, and I didn't spend much time yesterday talking about IoT because I only had 3 hours to speak. But you know, if you look at what's happening, there are millions and millions of devices all over the place at the edge, in our houses, in our offices, and factories, and oil fields, and agricultural fields, in cars, and planes, and ships, everywhere. And these devices have relatively little CPU and disk, so the cloud becomes disproportionately important in supplementing that. And there's all this data that lives on sensors that people actually want to capture and analyze and take action on. And you know, that's something that I think is also an incredible opportunity. There are a lot of companies who have assets at the edge that want to get value from it, and they want to actually have, you know, get help figuring out how to get that in the cloud and how to get the right analytics, and then how to actually send directions and actions and information back to the sensors so they can actually improve their productivity. And some of those actions will happen in the cloud, and some of those actions, they want to happen on the device itself. It's part of why we built something called Greengrass, which allows developers with a single pane of glass to decide which triggers they want to send data to the cloud and which triggers they want to allow the compute to happen on the device itself. And Greengrass allows you to do that. And so there's a lot of capabilities there. You know, people increasingly, as they're starting to make use of their assets at the edge, are wanting to do machine learning at the edge as well. And so there's just, I think there's a great opportunity for you to help people change their customer experiences and change their knowledge.
That's the biggest part of the edge, in my opinion, is IoT.
Now, I have a feeling that
it's going to be one of the biggest
that we launched
things.
Will jumpstart
collecting all that sensor data at the edge, doing some ML on it, and processing it there at the edge, and then sending it up to the bigger analytics platforms.
And I know you're passionate about.
I think that's going to be one of the biggest use cases. BP was on stage
maybe
earlier talking about refineries.
Why you're so
perfect example.
Passionate about startups and what startups mean to our business.
Well, you know, I think that the way we think about AWS today and the way we run the business is almost like a big startup. You know, I mean, I think we have more process and more mechanisms maybe than smaller startups, but we really think of ourselves as a big startup, and we operate in a very decentralized fashion, and speed and pace and obsessively listening to customers and trying to invent on their behalf are all really core principles. And when we wrote the vision document to propose AWS inside the company, what we had in the narrative was that the mental model we had was that we wanted to enable any individual in his or her own garage or house or dorm room to be able to have access to the same scale of infrastructure and cost structure as the largest companies in the world. And we really believed that so many individuals had great business ideas but couldn't afford to take lots of shots at trying those ideas. And we wanted to be a part of 1,000 Flowers Blooming. And you know, I think when, because the builders at Amazon and the type of people we hire are very entrepreneurial, we have a certain kinship with entrepreneurs where we understand what it means to want to build and to want to invent and to try to experiment and to push the envelope and to have the room and the flexibility to fail. Because the fact is, when you're trying to invent something new, you're going to fail a lot. You just, if it was simple, everybody would invent. And so we're very passionate about startups. They, you know, also just very practically end up becoming the enterprises of 5 to 10 years from now. And I find that successful startups, it's hard to know, are they startups or enterprises? Is Airbnb a startup or an enterprise? Yeah. Is Pinterest a startup or an enterprise? Is Slack a startup or an enterprise?
Lines are blurring.
You know, like you can kind of go through them, and they still innovate like they're startups, but they're pretty significant companies at this point. And so we have a lot of passion for startups, and we have a lot of passion for helping them. And I think that when we look back on the history of AWS, when people ask us what we're most proud of, one of the things that I always think of is I remember when we had the recession of 2008 or so, and there were those very gloomy PowerPoint decks running around the internet saying, you know, startups don't expect to get next rounds of funding and don't expect new companies to be funded. But actually, just about the same number of startups got funded, in significant part because they could use AWS in the cloud to get going and not to have to lay out those millions of dollars that they had to raise for the infrastructure of the data centers and the servers, but they got to try their ideas multiple times until they found resonance and then actually had a business. So we're pretty passionate about it. I'm excited about the program that you just announced for startup ISVs, and we do everything we can to try and not just help our startups get going, but also connect them with enterprises who can consume their products and services.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. I mean, it was only a few years ago when we were a startup, right?
Yeah.
But isn't it crazy that it's the 8th reInvent already? And we have 65,000 customers and partners attending this week. It's pretty awesome.
And I remember the very first reInvent, we were really anxious about whether we could convince 4,000 people to come. We thought that was a giant number. And just looking around this room, having the Partner Summit here in this room, I mean, it's just, it's really cool.
And you know, our event's a little different where we provide a lot of education, training to our customers and partners. And there's a lot of great content this week. You know, for the partners, what would you suggest in terms of how to maximize their sort of the value that they get from this event?
Well, you know, you're here with 65,000 peers. There are a lot of people, and I think you get a sense of the excitement,
network,
and the feeling like you're part of a movement that's changing
all
what's
of the
possible
sessions are
for
captured.
companies and for customers ultimately. So I think taking advantage of
build business relationships, find new opportunities,
ask questions of your
find
peers,
somebody to build a
ask
project
people what
together,
they're doing, go to a lot of
collaborate.
sessions, and really invest in learning. I would invest in training, and where you can get people certified, I would do that as well. But I would also, you know, and I hear this anecdotally almost every year that we do reInvent from different customers who stop me either at reInvent or after, who say, you know, I was excited about the cloud, we were doing something with the cloud, but we weren't, you know, deeply invested yet. And then I went to reInvent, and I spent the week with my senior leaders here and my team here. And at a certain point, we got together and we said, we've got to get committed. Like, let's go. And I think that if you can, on top of the learning from each other and the learning from the sessions and the learning about the services and the training and all of those things, if you could also take that learning and that inspiration and sit down as a team and think about what you're going to do differently, I think it will be a week well spent.
VMworld for us turned into a family reunion.
One last question for you, and this is more of a personal question.
For the large part, it still is, and a large of us in the VMware community,
I don't think a lot of people in the audience actually know how passionate you are about
the
education.
100 or 200 or so of us that have been through that for the last 10 years. It's a family reunion of sorts every year at multiple trade shows.
You know, why you're so passionate about education.
How you been? It's good to see you.
And also, how you see technology.
Building those relationships are huge, not only for your career, but for finding out what you might be interested in doing
next. It's a very
next.
good question, and I am passionate about it. You're right about it. And I think that education is the key that opens doors to opportunities for every person around the world. And Rainier Scholars that you mentioned is an organization in the Seattle area whose mission is to enable kids of color who've never had a family member attend college, get ready for, get into college and graduate college. And the program actually mails all of the kids of color in King County, in Highline, in Renton, which are major areas in the Seattle area, after their 4th grade year, and invites them to the program, and we pick a cohort each year of about 80 kids, and they come after the summer of 4th grade for 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, 6.5 weeks in the summer. So think about what you were doing during the summer when you were in 4th and 5th grade, and then compare that to what I just said. And then they go through 5th grade and they come Wednesday from 3:30 to 7 and Saturday from 8:30 to 4. And then they do the same thing they did the summer after 4th grade in 5th grade. And in that 14-month acceleration program, we're trying to get the kids about a grade level above where they are, because they're going to enter independent schools or advanced curriculum in the public schools, where they're going to be in a different situation, in a different social environment, where we want them to feel comfortable academically as they're adjusting to that. And the program has been incredibly successful, and we've had every single Rainier Scholar graduate and have multiple choices for college, and something like 97% of them have graduated within 5 years. And you just see that, and then you look at it, and for us, with Rainier Scholars, we take 80 kids and have 800 kids apply. Mm-hmm. That's just in one part of the country. And so it's just, when you watch programs like that, you realize that so many kids can do it if they're given the right training and the right organizational skills and the right mentorship and the right coaching. And then I think you look around the world, but I'll just keep it to the US as an example. In the United States, we are now 35th out of 50 developed countries in education. If we don't think that that is going to impact the future of this country, we are kidding ourselves. And yet, for some reason, we don't see it as a crisis in this country. And I think it's a major crisis. And I think that we have to find a way to optimize for the kids instead of optimizing for the grown-ups. And there's this crazy thing in this polarized world that we live in right now, where there's, whenever you're in a rut academically, and you could argue why it is, or it's nobody's fault, whatever it is, if you're 35 out of 50 and you're in the United States, that's a rut. Mm-hmm. If you're in a rut in anything, the only way out of that box is experimenting and actually innovating. And so I find it so crazy in our country, this debate about charter schools. I'm also involved in a charter school. Charter schools are not a panacea, but they are one idea. They are one idea that's an innovation, when executed right, can be very successful. We have to try 20 types of ideas. We can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again because that's the way we've done it. We still run education in our country like we're an agrarian society. So, I think that we need to innovate, and we need to try lots of things in education. And I think that technology can very much play a part of that. I think that I'm thankful that my kids can go to 4-year liberal arts colleges, but I don't think they're going to be the same number of liberal arts colleges in 10 years from now. I just think it's too expensive, and I think people aren't going to be able to afford to go to school for 4 years. And I think we need to innovate the 2-year programs that we have, and we need to have them more focused on the big job opportunities, of which there are a lot of them in each of the countries, including this one. And so I just think technology can and should play a very significant role in our innovating to evolve our education system, because we have to.
It's not just that either. We have to evolve HR and recruiting so that we don't have a blanket block off of anybody that doesn't have a 4-year degree. You got to have a bachelor's of this and a master's of that and all that, because you're eliminating talent. I don't know what's going on with the stream. It's their live stream is kind of going right now. So sorry guys. Let me see if I can refresh it. It was doing this a couple of times yesterday. See if it'll come back.
And most importantly, we appreciate the partnership, and it's such an unbelievable opportunity for all of us.
So much I could say about that. That borders on political stuff that I don't really want to mess with.
How we can help customers transform themselves and their customer experiences and their businesses, and we can't wait to partner with you. So thanks very much for the time, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Andy.
Land the plane, Doug.
All right, that was awesome. You heard this from Andy today in the fireside chat, but also from his talk yesterday, that one of the key reasons why customers choose to work with AWS is because we offer the right tool for the right job to be done. And I completely agree with that, but I think for me, one of the other reasons why customers choose to work with AWS is because through APN, we're able to help customers find the right partner for the job to be done. And there are some key things that customers tell us that they look for in APN partners. For example, the customers, when they're looking for a consulting partner to work with, they're looking for a partner that has has a dedicated team of AWS experts who have deep skills and also specialized skills to help them get the job done. And also, they're looking for consulting partners who are able to bring their industry expertise, some of their IP, some of their customer successes, so that they can come and build the right differentiated offering for the customer. And for technology partners, as Andy said, having the solution that's easy to deploy and run on AWS is critical for customers. And also, customers want those services from our partners to be well integrated with AWS services so that when they use the partner products, that they're able to maximize the value that they can get from the AWS innovations. And for both, this may be obvious, but Andy talked about his time, the questions that he should be asking when he goes to get something done with his doctor. It's the same question that the customers are asking for, which is, they want partners who've been able to show customer obsession and have been able to provide a consistently high quality experience that meet or exceed the expectations of their customers. And those are very important for customers when they are choosing which partner to work with. And so I'd like to showcase 3 partners who embody these characteristics and are putting APN to work for them. So let's listen to their stories.
Okay. Let me get off the screen here.
Since joining the APN network, the rate and pace of our business has more than doubled.
Is kind of the foundation through which we scale.
Was truly valuable to us as a company. We were excited about leveraging the AWS partner network because of all the benefits that we believed it would afford Alfresco. We started off with just an S3 connector, and now we support 55 of the AWS services natively.
One of the real advantages of being an APN is the ACE program. This allows us to closely orchestrate not just our sales efforts, but our marketing efforts.
One of the things that we're going to do is get really prescriptive about the outcomes that F5 wants to drive for customers that are building new applications or migrating to AWS.
We're probably migrating 24 customers a quarter, and increasingly, we're migrating their complete enterprise data center up onto the AWS platform. That's huge for us.
The APM service or program that we've had the most success with is SaaS Factory.
We get customers ask us all the time if our solutions have passed the AWS security competency through the APN, and we're able to tell them yes.
Working with AWS, and since we've entered this partnership and become a premier partner, our business is doubling each year, and it's accelerating.
When we started on our journey to the cloud, we chose AWS as our partner for one simple reason. AWS was #1 by a mile, and they still are.
That's a great video, and we want all of our partners to achieve the same level of success as Velocity, F5, and Alfresco. And like these partners share, there are many ways APN helps you grow your business with AWS. It's important that we offer you the right program for the jobs that your customers want to get done. And APN programs, the way we think about it is that it's a scaling mechanism to ensure that our partners of all sizes, of all types, across all locations are ready to serve our mutual customers. And we build these programs based on your feedback and our customers' feedback. And I'm going to highlight 2 programs that we believe can really help you differentiate you in the market. First is the AWS Service Delivery Program. It's a program that validates APN consulting partners' proven experience delivering specific AWS services to our customers. Partners in this program are showcased on the AWS service pages for that service, and we have 24 designations available right now, and are always listening to our customers to see which additional services that we should include. And as I mentioned before, our customers want APN technology products that are well integrated with AWS. But right now, the process for how customers are able to tell which products are well integrated, it's not that simple. Customers have to basically evaluate and test those applications themselves, or have to reach out to our service teams or our partner teams to have them help with the recommendations. And this process slows down our customers, and we don't like that. And so today, I'm excited to announce the AWS Service Ready program. This program is designed to reduce the time customers spend finding the right partner products that are well integrated with AWS services that they are currently using in their environment. For each service, partners must meet a set of criteria that are set by the service team, and also the general principles around our well-architected framework. And our SAs will be the ones who will be validating each product to ensure that they are validated, they are well integrated with our services. APN technology partners whose products are part of this program will receive promotion on the AWS service pages. They will get highlighted to our field sales teams, and they will be eligible to receive leads and opportunities from AWS. Partners that you see behind me are our launch partners for AWS Private Link and Amazon Redshift. And today, we're accepting applications for Lambda, RDS, as well as Outpost. The second program that I want to highlight to all of you is our competency program for our APN consulting and technology partners.
I saw Trend Micro. That was the
we
one
launched
that
the program
I really recognized
6 years ago based on the feedback from our customers who wanted partners with capabilities and proven success in delivering specific solutions, workloads, and in industries. The designation helps partners differentiate themselves to our customers by showcasing expertise in the areas that you see on the screen here. And we're constantly listening for feedback from our customers on what additional competencies that they want from APN partners. And recently, the customers have been telling us that they would like to see more partners and for us to have partners with that competency around retail industry. So we looked at a number of retail partners who have that industry expertise as well as solutions. And not many people may know this, but we have thousands of retail customers who are using AWS right now, and we have many more who are looking to use AWS so that they can provide a seamless digital and physical experiences to their customers. So today, I'm excited to announce our new AWS Retail Competency. With this competency, customers can discover technology products and leading consulting practice with increased confidence. These partners are retail specialists who set a very high bar in deploying AI ML, data lakes, analytics, IoT, and process change management needed for successful retail modernization and transformation. The key benefits for the program are promotion on AWS website and Partner Solution Finder, as well as to our field sellers and additional go-to-market funding, including industry event participation and additional market development funding. We have 39 consulting partners, as well as 11 technology partners today, and we look forward to working with more of you for this competency. Another industry that I'd like to highlight today is the public sector. Many of our partners help public sector customers with digital transformation, and APN has a number of programs specifically for public sector partners. So I'd like to invite my colleague, Sandy Carter, to the stage to share our public sector story.
Well, good morning. Doug told me to break a leg when I came out here, so I did. It is so great to be here with you today, especially having just taken the job of running public sector partners and programs this last September. And what I've been spending my time on is talking to you. I did 4 roundtables on Monday with our public sector partners, really learning about what are the core things that you're interested in. And it really brought up for me one of my very favorite quotes. Now, you guys know who Michael Jordan is, right? Great basketball player. I love basketball. And this is one of my favorite quotes because this is from Stacey King, who is a rookie. And he said, "I will always remember this as the night that Michael Jordan and I combined to score 70 points. Stacey King scored 1 point. So why does this remind me of today? Well, because I've been listening to your great suggestions, everything I'm going to be talking to you about today were ideas that you gave to us. Andy just spoke about working backwards from the customer. I've been working backwards from you, our partners, to come up with a lot of things for public sector. Now, just so you know, 60% of our APN partners actually have a public sector practice. So this is really important for all of us today in the room because the growth potential in public sector is pretty amazing. So as you look at the different areas, government, we have over 7,000 customers in the government space working on GovCloud today and innovating in that space. In education, we have over 12,000 customers with 41 education competency partners that go from doing compute to VMware Cloud on AWS. We also have over 30,000 nonprofits, and those include healthcare, hospitals, because a lot of those hospitals are nonprofits as well. And in addition, startups. So Doug announced today a startup program for APN. We also have a very specific startup focus for our public sector partners as well. So if you think about all of these different areas, we have some really amazing stories around these of how our partners have helped us differentiate. So for example, take Flat 6 Grass. They are an incubator, an accelerator in Bahrain. Bahrain is like the next Silicon Valley of the Middle East, and we've been working with them to really drive innovation into the government space in Bahrain. If you also look at Arcus Global, they built the UK's first official sensitive application, and that's a hosting platform on AWS. They migrated hundreds of servers to the cloud for local authorities, including the National Health Service for the UK using Amazon Connect. We also have folks like Bark Technologies, which is a social monitoring tool. And what does that do? Well, it helps with our schools. They monitor and help 4.2 million children working with the National Police Foundation. And then, of course, we have SAP NS2. So NS2 is specifically designed for government. The US Navy consolidated 26 different ERP systems onto SAP HANA on the AWS GovCloud. And then last but not least, Trend Micro, who also sponsored our We Power Tech track here, is also one of the first to use our Outposts that Andy talked about yesterday for hybrid protection that already exists on-prem, virtual, and in the cloud. And they were also one of the first to integrate and support VMware Cloud on AWS. Now, if you think about it, all of these partners are doing really amazing things in the marketplace. But we have helped each of these partners in different ways, again, working backwards from you. So let me show you one of the programs that these partners have taken advantage of. So it's called Authority to Operate. And if you're in the government space, you know that one of the highest levels of security certification is around FedRAMP. So this program helps our partners become FedRAMP certified on their solutions. If you look at some of the results, it's pretty incredible. We have 4 times the number of FedRAMP solutions than the nearest 2 cloud vendors combined. But more importantly, for our customers, this provides choice and security that's really powerful in this particular space. Now, I have to say, one of my very favorite programs that we have for partners is called PTP, the Partner Transformation Program. This program is really powerful because what it does is it works with you to develop a 100-day program for transformation of you, our partners. It helps you to see best practices of becoming a very profitable cloud business. But the other really cool thing is that on average, our partners who go through this program are driving their revenue 70% year over year, which is twice that of someone who's just part of our APN Advanced tier. So it's something you want to check out if you haven't done so today. We've just started a digital campaign around this. So we have a blog and our playbook that's out on LinkedIn as well as Facebook. So you can grab some of that as well as our own APN blog as well. Now, if we think about our partners and our programs, I know Doug showed some of those, but we customize a lot of programs specifically for our public sector partners. We've already talked about Authority to Hire and PTP, but we also have a public sector partner program that we use to help you accelerate in that business for APN and public sector. Now, we also have 3 competencies. The first is a governance competency that we announced in 2016 to provide confidence to our customers in that government space. In 2017, we announced our education competency to help our education customers. And then last year, we announced our AWS nonprofit competency. So we work really closely with you as our partners and customers to understand your needs when we develop new programs and new competencies. We've had a lot of recent conversations about first responders and disaster response communities and how we can help them proceed. There's been a record number of hazardous events from Hurricane Doreen to Ebola outbreaks in Africa. All these natural and man-made disasters and public safety emergencies have really got us looking at what can we do to help first responders, businesses, hospitals, schools who are facing some of these challenges. Previously, there was really no easy way for these customers to find the right APN partner with that specialized skill that they need to serve this market. And so today, I am really pleased to announce the launch of our new AWS Public Safety and Disaster Response competency. I think this is really cool. Can we do the energy up? This is a new announcement. Woohoo!
Oh, God, please bring the energy
So
up.
this AWS Public Safety and Disaster Response Competency will help our customers leverage trusted solutions in their unique industries. It's going to help them in 3 phases: prepare, respond, and recover. These organizations who need this help operate in a limited and sometimes completely disconnected environment. And sometimes they do that for an indefinite period of time. So this competency is going to help differentiate our APN consulting partners with proven success and helping customers implement these secure, reliable, cloud-enabled offerings for public safety and disaster response. And so I'm also pleased today to announce that we have 17 partners who have already gone through this particular competency and qualified. This program started in public sector, but we also quickly learned that many of these customers also apply for commercial.
WWT.
So for these 17 inaugural
Represent.
partners, each of these partners has
Verizon,
now
Coalfire.
demonstrated that
Good companies.
technical expertise and that proven customer success in helping these customer groups from disasters and also leveraging the AWS cloud. Let's give them a big round of congratulations. So it's my pleasure to serve you. You are my customer. I want to continue to listen to what you have to say. So a couple of actions, though, that I have for you. One, I want you to consider a public sector focus. I told you that 60% of you in the room do have a public sector practice because of the great growth here. If you're part of that 40%, come and see me. I'll be around through Friday. I also want you to learn more about these programs that we've built. We'll be launching a new site for ATO, and we have that digital campaign already for our PTP program. And as always, please continue to provide us whatever else you need to grow. That's my role, is to serve you and to help you drive more value for our customers. So as Doug and Andy said, and as we always say, this is just the beginning of public sector partners and customers. It is truly day one. I appreciate your continued support and all that you do for our customers. Thank you so much, and I'll see you at the expo.
All right. Is that it? Oh, Doug's coming back out. All right. A little bit more. I think we were wrapping up here, though. I hope. I got work to do.
Thanks, Andy. I always love hearing stories from our public sector customers because they have such amazing missions. You know, every year on this stage, we have an opportunity to recognize a set of consulting partners who continue to differentiate themselves and deliver great customer success, and as a result are accelerating their businesses with AWS. So please join me in congratulating our newest premier consulting partners. And we now have over 100 premier consulting partners out of the tens of thousands of consulting partners working with AWS globally. These partners are using APM programs to build strong businesses.
Somebody spent a lot of time on that.
As we continue to support your efforts to innovate and build specializations, we will continue to listen to your feedback and invest in your growth and success. You know, I firmly believe that the programs that we have talked about today can help you to be successful, but you know, it does require you to choose the ones that matter most to you, your business, and your customers. And you know, we talked a lot about differentiation, but you know, differentiation can be difficult at times, especially if you're an established company. It's going to require a heavier lift, especially, let's say, you have a established ISV infrastructure business, and you have a number of customers already, but they're asking you to prepare a cloud-native solution. It's going to require you to make new investments, acquire new skills, potentially even have a new business model or an operating model. So, that is why in 2017 we announced AWS SaaS Factory. And SaaS Factory provides a broad range of business and technical enablement resources to help companies transform their products. But as we engaged a number of these ISV partners with SaaS Factory, we heard a lot of feedback from our partners that they wanted even deeper relationships to really transform not just their products, but their businesses. And so, they were asking us to help them rethink the way they innovate. They wanted to get access to our service team so that they know exactly what to integrate into their products, or they wanted our help in coming up with the right business model. But these requests that we were getting from the ISV partners weren't just from them. We were getting similar requests from SI partners who were looking to build specialty practices, or building an AWS COE, or building an IP-based solution for their customers. And so, what we ended up doing is that we thought that it would be good to have a better, more structured program to support some of our strategic partners who are making a big commitment to AWS. And therefore, we built out a specialized teams to focus on helping put together the right partnership structure and also execute on that program. And then we also came up with a number of things that we can provide in terms of a very tailored approach to helping them achieve the goals that they had. And so, we've had a number of partners who have already done this with us. And so, these are some of the partners that have gone through this motion of putting together strategic collaboration with us. And F5 is a good example of a company that has done this, and we have a multi-year strategic collaboration with them that allows their customers to use F5 for new cloud-native applications and enable their customers a frictionless path to upgrade to F5 solutions on AWS. So this is just one example, but there are many others, and we look to do many more in the future. Another piece of feedback that we heard from our partners was around selling
So I guess they weren't
together.
wrapping up.
And I know this is super important for many of you in this room. Up until now, we've had a number of, in my opinion, very successful programs around demand generation, and we have a number of programs to help you with accelerating your opportunities with your customers through different funding mechanisms or credit mechanisms. And we also have a number of different sales programs, like the mass migration program that we have, also the database freedom programs. But one of the things that I think the partners were really asking for us to invest more into is in field sales. And therefore, in the past 18 to 24 months, we've put a lot of resources who are solely focused on working with our partners and our field sellers to sell their products into our customers. And we will continue to make additional investments. So we have roles like partner success managers, and we have ISV success managers. And the partner success managers are focusing on helping SI partners, whereas ISV success managers are helping the ISV partners go to market. So this is something that you should keep a lookout for as we continue to evolve how we sell together and how we invest more to bring additional customers to all of you. So today, we talked about how customers are transforming and innovating, and how our partners are helping our customers along that journey. And we also talked about the importance of partners transforming and innovating. So as you continue to drive to innovate on behalf of your customers and differentiate your businesses, we will continue to be there by your side and invest in your success. But I also believe that APN has to continue to evolve and get better and innovate on behalf of our partners. I've had a chance to meet with a lot of partners in the first 4 months, and I truly appreciate how diverse all of you are. And it's my personal opinion that our partners are our customers. To our partner organization, you are our customers. And my commitment to all of you is that we will apply the same rigorous approach that we use in product development to work backwards from you to come up with very innovative programs to help you succeed. We are here to support all of you, regardless of your size, industry, location, capabilities, or business goals. So I urge all of you to think big and push us to help you build a successful business. If you do that, you will have a willing partner in us. Our goal is to build a partnership that outlasts all of us. So as Sandy mentioned, for the public sector business, I think it's true for APN in general. There are so many opportunities ahead of us, so it's day one. And so, I would love for us to grow together. Thank you very much.
And there we have it, guys.
This concludes today's program.
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow at 8 a.m. is the AWS Deep Racer Championship.
Ooh. Nice. So we'll be on at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific tomorrow for the Deep Racer Championships. I definitely want to watch and stream that with you guys. Let me turn this off. Kick some music back on. All right. Let's kill that. Is music coming? Ooh, there it comes. So, if you guys watched any of the KubeCon keynotes last week, you'll notice that I had a lot to say about the choices of speakers. And I kind of wanted to save this till the end of reInvent because it really ties a bow on the whole trade show season in general. And a lot of it has to do with who companies are deciding to put on the forefront, put out there as their speakers. And what I'm seeing is this trend of a shift happening. And I hope it becomes a little bit more Titanic than it's still showing to be, even in 2019. Even in the world we live in now, KubeCon was while the speakers weren't strong, it was a very refreshing take on diversity and inclusion into who represents the new industry, the new IT, the new enterprise. Because a lot of what we've seen over even in 2019 over the course of the major trade shows, I want to see more of what we saw at KubeCon. And while they weren't the strongest speakers, that can be fixed. The systemic influence of, I'm trying to say this in a very nice way. We need more diversity and inclusion into who's being out there, and they need to be strong speakers. It's the combination of those two things are what's going to drive things forward. So having Andy up there is fantastic. He's a phenomenal speaker. But if we look back at KubeCon, we had a lot of representation across the board from both people of color and the LGBTQ community, as well as, some good old-fashioned white dudes. And I say all of this as an old white dude that's graying. There's a little bit too much of that still out there, but we need more representation because they're the ones that are in the trenches, that are down there building the applications and that are represented in communities outside of executive leadership are going to be the ones, the next generation, to step up and lead. And I feel like there's not enough effort to put those folks forward. And it's one of those things that should just be the norm by now. It shouldn't be something that Nick Howell has to get on a stream and talk about. It shouldn't be something that we have to get up and talk about. I saw a tweet from Missy from Switch this morning saying that she went to an invite-only C-suite meetup at reInvent, and she was only one of 3 females that were in that. I'm assuming there were a lot of people in that. And just stuff like that. Like, how is this still a thing? How is it still a thing that we're talking about? How is it still a thing that we have to talk about having strong speakers at keynotes and industry events? I think Ignite was the one that stood out to me the most as the most well-versed and the most diverse of this trade show season. And it was fantastic. A couple of weeks ago at Ignite. Go back and watch some of those. I've got a lot of those that are going to be going up on the YouTube channel, but a couple of them are still here on the Twitch stream. They only keep them for 14 days on Twitch for some reason, but I digress. Just something that really stood out to me, specifically from KubeCon, and I've gone back and watched some of the content, and it really just jumped out at me. So let's start being more representative of the people that are building a lot of these things, that are representing a lot of these sort of subgroups. Because I don't feel like there's a lot of executive leadership that's out doing a lot of this keynoting, but in actuality, they're not doing that much. They're leading, they're enabling, they're getting out of the way and letting these people drive innovation. And I feel like they should be the ones that should be put forward. I don't know. That's just my take on it. The smartest thing really, really strong managers and leaders do is get the hell out of the way and enable. And hire really smart people and get out of the way. If I'm ever in a room and I'm the smartest dude, I'm in the wrong room. You know, that's just the way I look at it. I like that the place that I'm in right now, where I don't know a lot about a lot of this cloud stuff. I don't know a lot about Kubernetes and coding and things like that. It makes me uncomfortable, but I like that. I like being it because it encourages me to learn. It encourages me to want to be energetic and passionate about, oh my God, today I learned this thing and it's so amazing. That's the kind of world I want to live in. And, you know, those are the kinds of people I want to be out there, because it's going to energize the masses to go out and want to learn some new things. And I don't think executives in sport coats, you know, are the thing to do that. Andy's kind of the exception. Andy's a massive geek. He just also happens to be the CEO of AWS Cloud. So, yeah. I look at our CEO, George Kirian at NetApp. He's a massive geek. He ran engineering for ONTAP for many number of years. He's a massive geek first. So, and it's kind of funny and ironic in an awesome way that he's also just happens to be an amazing leader and the CEO of NetApp. So just some little commentary from me on trade shows and things like that. So wrapping up day 2 was the Partner Summit. Technically, if you want to put a label on it. Day 1 was Andy announcing 327 new products and services that they have at AWS. Day 2 was the Partner Summit. Sounds like there's some really cool changes coming to the APN. And if you guys have been that was the thing I did for the last year before I transitioned to this new role, was I was buried neck deep in the channel, somewhat hidden under there, and just working with our channel partners to ramp up a lot of these new cloud products and services that we're bringing to market, that we've brought to market now. And now it's time to go back and start building stuff. It's time to start building solutions. And a lot of the things that all of the cloud providers, including AWS, are bringing to the table with their partner communities and channel programs and things like that are going to be pivotal to a lot of this change and stuff that we're going forwards to in the future. So that was day 2. From Doug, from Andy, Kathy, lots of folks, customers, BP, Avis Budget, lots of good stuff today. But I'll echo that we got to start, if you're going to have somebody come out and just wrangle the crowd, look at how well Brian did at KubeCon, just wrangling the crowd and being the MC of that whole thing, shuffling customers and different presenters and project leads and everything throughout KubeCon. 2 thumbs up, because that was the way to do it. And he's a really strong speaker. He's got good energy, all that stuff. So thanks for tuning in to day 2, guys. This is coverage of AWS reInvent 2019. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, for the Deep Racer finals, as well as the keynote from Werner afterwards, which he gives good keynote. So I'm looking forward to that one. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to another Tomb on the DatacenterDude Twitch channel. We'll have some of this up on YouTube as well in the coming weeks, so that anybody that wants to come back and watch later, they absolutely can. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, DatacenterDude, over there. Make sure you click the little follow heart up above so you can get alerted any time that we put up new content or go live. And also make sure you're following twitch.tv/NetApp. We're going to be doing some really cool stuff in 2020 with that once we get past the holiday season that we're diving into now. It's an interesting day tomorrow. It's the final keynote of AWS reInvent 2019, the final keynote of what I consider to be the major fall trade shows of 2019, which is also the final day of keynotes of the major trade shows of the 2010s. It's the end of a decade, and arguably the end of an era, and the beginning of a new one as we go into 2020. Whew. We're in this weird big time shift right now that it's kind of got me excited. Lots of new stuff is coming. Lots of new stuff is happening. We're shifting gears from what I call the post-virtualization era into this new app modernization era, I think is what I want to label this. So it's centered around cloud architecture. It's centered for IaaS and PaaS, and it's centered around this app modernization, leveraging Kubernetes and containerization, functions as a service, all of those things. Everything's changing right now. Everything. And as you know, I saw Kelsey Hightower say something on Twitter earlier as we were watching the keynote. He says, cloud and containers are going to be the end of the hypervisor, even though underneath it's still mostly a hypervisor. But I think it's also going to do the same thing for Kubernetes. I mean, if you look at where the industry is today, my slide, remember my cloud app continuum slide that I have, the industry's already moved on. They've forgotten about compute and commoditized it at this point. It's all just about executing runtimes. And it's for the enterprise, it's going to be doing that with some persistent storage in a reliable, sustainable fashion. So, yeah. I mean, as much as we're talking about Kubernetes now, the next stuff is right around the corner. It could be a short-term thing. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. Day 2, we'll be back for day 3 tomorrow. I'm Nick Howell, the Data Center Dude, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.